Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk. People, make we talk.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to a very special edition of Make We Talk. This morning I'm supposed to have Ambassador Andy Mashaile of Interpol. We're going to speak about, is there a secret Chinese police station operating in Jamaica? We don't know. We're still waiting on Ambassador to come on. I know they're having some light issues over there in South Africa. So let's pray and hope he will come on. This morning is just that, you know, we're trying to figure out what is going on. Is it that the Chinese government is having police stations, secret police stations around the world? They found one in Manhattan yesterday. The FBI closed that one down. And I was being told by Ambassador that there is one in South Africa and they closed that down also. So is it that there is a Chinese police station operating in Jamaica that we don't know about? That's the question we're asking this morning. Is it that the government of Jamaica is not aware of it? Are they aware of it and they put a blind eye to it because they're getting goodies from China and they can get loans from China? You know, we have to ask ourselves the question, what is the motive behind so many things that the Chinese are doing? What is the motive behind it? We don't know, because sometimes we say to ourselves, the Chinese are taking over. A lot of Jamaicans are complaining about that. But the Chinese are taking over. But the Chinese have more say in our country than even the normal Jamaican people. This morning, I saw where the local government minister, Desmond McKenzie, is condemning the brutal or the murder of another homeless person. No, I'm not going to say that the minister should not come out and condemn it. But minister, you're part of an organization or administration where the crime situation is rampant in our country. It is out of work. It is out of work. And the time has come for us in this country to say to ourselves, is the government of Jamaica doing anything to assist the people of Jamaica? When it comes on to crime, there is a goodly gentleman, the goodly gentleman from Interpol, Ambassador Andy Mashaile. Good morning to you here in Jamaica and other part of the world. I know in South Africa, it is night over there in South Africa. Good night to you, sir.
Good evening to you, Jeffrey. It's actually 1800 hours now.
Okay. And Ambassador, welcome to the Make We Talk program once more, sir. I see wherein the American government has, locked down another Chinese secret police station in Manhattan. What is really going on with the Chinese government, Ambassador?
Let me talk to you as an international security expert and drop the Interpol cap off. There is an organization called Safeguard Defenders. This is a non-governmental organization that produced a report on the 110 in quotes Chinese police stations in 50 countries, including my own home country, South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
We have been led to believe that I think in South Africa, yes, in South Africa, let me start off there. In South Africa, you have 13 of these police stations in codes. When I relate it to the report delivered by Safeguard Defenders, I think your viewers, Ntate Jeffrey, Jeff, would need to Google Safeguard Defenders, the NGO, and the report that was delivered in December 2022.
Yes.
These police stations, amongst other things, we are led to believe that they work hand in glove with the police to ensure that the Chinese expatriates are in a good space, they get service, and they also get to help them in renewing their license back home. What we have learned from the report delivered by Safeguard Defenders is these police stations or these community police centers actually are connected to the public security bureaus in China. There's one in Nantong, there's one in Fujian or Fuzhou, something like that. You will see the right names. I can't pronounce the right names properly.
Yes.
Their purpose would be, amongst others, to track down dissidents, those who don't agree with the Chinese way of governance and all other things that are related to the Chinese way of governing systems. We have been led to believe from the report that 230,000 Chinese expatriates have been persuaded in codes to go back to China. Long story short, Jeffrey, these bureaus or these proxies, they call them proxies of the public security bureaus in China.
Yes.
Their purpose, amongst others, is to intimidate Chinese expatriates. Wherever there is a huge or a large Chinese diaspora community, they get set up there to track and trace. You realize that in the explanation on CNN, we learned that some of them would, those who are manning these secret police stations, would visit the Chinese expatriates and say, you have been posting wrong things about China. You need to go back home to China. You know you have a family back home to China. If you don't want anything bad to happen to the family back home in China, make sure that you get back home China. Simply put, you are going to be prosecuted when you get back to China. I respect their way of governance and their way of life, but I do not respect with any violation of human rights and repression of politics and democracy. I respect the Chinese.
Yes.
For one thing, they've never colonized China. They've never colonized Africa. They and the Russians have never colonized Africa, which is why you would find people in my country would rather be associated with China and Russia than the Europeans, which colonized Africa and at the 1876 Berlin carved Africa into pieces. So when they come here into Africa,
Yes.
they get a warm welcome and they abuse, amongst others, the goodwill of the people.
But Ambassador, is it that the Chinese government, let's say in the Caribbean, that they have so much invested in the Caribbean? Is it that we must believe as a Jamaican citizen and let's say Caribbean people on a whole, that is a possibility that the Chinese government may have a secret police station somewhere in Jamaica because the Jamaican government allowed the Chinese government to build a foreign affairs building downtown Kingston. So is it that the Chinese government may have a secret police station in Jamaica, spying on Jamaicans and also Chinese nationals?
It is possible. The only people who can come between you and I and say yes or no factually would be this organization, the Defenders.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is in our good space. I tried to contact them before getting online and I couldn't, which is one reason why I joined you a little bit late.
Yes.
Besides the so-called energy saving measures or load shedding, it has started now at 6 p.m. I'm going to have electricity 4 hours later at 10 p.m. So one of the things that I couldn't come back, I couldn't get online on time is because I had to improvise to be on your show and to have the lighting. You know what I did, Jeffrey, just as a by the way, I'm sitting in my BMW. I'm using my car's USB port.
Oh Lord!
With the light in my face, with a camera on my camera stand. I'm sitting on the passenger seat just to make sure that I get to deliver to you in terms of the agreements that we have, you and I, of making our people aware. And the most important thing is delivery. I think the Safeguard Defenders will help us, will tell us if out of the 50 countries, I have gone through the list. I didn't see Jamaica, but this is an old list. The 110 secret police stations are all over the world in 50 countries.
Yes.
Remember that this report was delivered in December 2022. Some new developments might have taken place between then and now.
Ambassador, I'm going to play the clipping that came over on one of the news outlets in America about the secret Chinese police station that they found in Lower Manhattan. And for some reason, when I saw it, I said to myself that I think there is something operating in Jamaica that maybe the authorities in Jamaica knows about, or maybe they don't know about it. Let us play this and get, a feel of what is going on within the communist Chinese government. Because is it that they're going around the world and operating secret police stations unknown to the government of the host country? Listen to this. Hold on. Oh, I think, hold on, Ambassador. I think what happened, the station not hearing it. So I think that's why they're going for the, oh Lord, I'm having a little bit of problem here.
Fortunately, I have seen this this news article on CNN.
Yes, Ambassador, go ahead.
I am familiar with, I saw it this morning whilst you guys in the US were still fast asleep. It was on CNN morning news article.
Right.
They've been tracking them for quite some time. I'm sure they were able to track the transmission back to China, because some host countries, back to your question, some host countries don't actually know that in the establishment of these community police relations organizations, the secret police stations, the people who are manning them send information back to China. They have gone on to say the people who are manning these police stations are volunteers. We know that there are contracts for those who are working in the European countries. They have signed 3-year contracts, and it is on the report of the safeguard defenders that no, it's not the volunteers, and they don't help the Chinese diaspora simply with communication in the host countries, because the one that you've just shown on your show
Yes.
have been accused of recruiting Chinese police officers in and around the state where they were closed down or they were arrested. So they would recruit people to give them what information, intelligence, which now borders on my area of expertise, international security. Those centers now become national security threats. And if you want me to give you advice on what to do when such a thing crops up, I would say into the Jamaicans or to the South Africans, like I did when I was the chairperson of the Community Police Board. I would then say, why set up a parallel police center with people wearing full Chinese police uniforms when there is the South African Police Service, or when you have the New York Police Department? If those Chinese nationals have a problem, they could go to the New York Police Department or to the Jamaican Constabulary Force, what do you call them, police stations? I can't remember what you call them exactly. They could
Police
go
stations.
there. Yeah, they could go there and ask for help or present their matter. I'm sure there are people who are fluent in Mandarin in Jamaica who could do the translation and the interpretation of what those nationals who are in Jamaica are struggling with.
You know something, Ambassador? I have never seen any other nation have their police force, have secret police force in any other nation. Is it that China is saying to themselves that they are going to take over the world? They're going to be the next world power. Why they start doing all of this?
I'm not sure of the strategic intention. As an expert in strategic analysis, I would want to assume one, when you go into 50 countries and establish these proxies to the public security bureaus in China, it means you are co-policing. And when the time comes for you, should it happen like it is common suspicion that China wants to take over the world, which might be a good thing, which might not be a good thing, given a number of dynamics in and around us politically, economically, and many of those things. Remember, my own country is in a relationship with China from a BRICS point of view: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. That power block. I was just reading this morning in my research that from a GDP point of view, the BRICS bloc is bigger than all other blocks that have been in existence. So China might also be preparing that their interest in the event that a local police force is not able to deliver effectively in terms of protecting their interest and helping them with their interest and helping them track down dissidents. They want to do it themselves. And I don't think that that is the correct thing from a sovereignty point of view, the host country sovereignty point of view. China must respect Jamaica, they must respect all other countries. As a matter of fact, in the Eastern Cape province in South Africa, the whole provincial commissioner helped them set up that police station codes, community police relations center, that kind of stuff. If we would have done things the right way, we would have done a proper intelligence research on them, or intelligence gathering to check what is it that they do, to check organizations like Safeguard Defenders, and really do our own research. I'm sure that's what the Caribbeans would want to do. Check with credible organizations like the Safeguard Defenders. Why is it that there are so many of these centers that the US called secret police stations? Why are they there in 50 countries? Why 110? Why is the FBI, or why is the Jamaican police, or why is the SAPS not throughout all over the world? It's a question that I ask myself.
Yes, and Ambassador, when you look at it, because the Chinese have I remember the name of it in Jamaica, where they even have half of the zoo, the Hope Zoo in Jamaica. Half of the property belongs to the Chinese, and that they have a thing on Hope Road where they meet a lot of Chinese meet there. Is it that is a possibility? I'm gonna ask the question a different way. Is it a possibility that within that organization, with the Bolivian society, is it that they may possibility have a secret police force in that area? Because the government of Jamaica allowed them to build the Jamaican Foreign Affairs building downtown Kingston. And I'm pretty much sure that building is bugged left, right, and center. So
there is a possibility, Jeffrey, that you might have the secret police station in Jamaica, because in other parts of the world, in the 50 countries, the exact location of these secret police stations, stroke community police development centers, they have been established in unknown locations. So even in the Caribbeans, they might be there in unknown locations. It is up to the people of the Caribbeans to double check whether they are there or not through proper international research, and also engage your Safeguard Defenders to say, what do you know about these secret police stations in Jamaica? So that the people can then begin to engage in a conversation. I will not want to see the Jamaican constabulary force being undermined by some, out of respect, by some fish and chips operation center next to or in a space that is owned by the Jamaican constabulary force. We have to make sure that where there are legally established police forces in the world, we support them. From my own area of interest and development and operation, I come in to support law enforcement agencies only if they operate within the confines of the law, and mostly do, except for a few rogue individuals who steal guns, who are involved in cocaine. It's not the whole force or forces of the world. It's a few individuals who are rotten.
Yes. We're going to take a quick commercial break here on Route 96.1 FM, Ambassador. We're speaking to Ambassador Andy Mashaile of Interpol. We're speaking about, is there a secret police station in Jamaica owned by the Chinese government? We'll be right back.
So tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase.
New Budget Supplies massive price buster now on. Want to redo that kitchen? Retile that old floor? Stop that leaking roof? Make over the bathroom? It's now or never. White toilet from $14,999. 5-gallon paint from $6,599. Gypsum board $1,749. 50% off UPVC French windows. 10% off kitchen sinks, water tanks, and pumps. 195 Hagleyburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New Budget Supplies. Always the best prices.
Hi, I'm Sharon.
Hi, I'm Marcia.
I'm Adrian.
Join us this and every Wednesday morning for Extraordinary Abilities on Roots 96.1 FM. Join us for news, views, and interviews with extraordinary people. Extraordinary Abilities every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your extraordinary radio station, Roots 96.1 FM. It's gonna be fun, informative, and educational, but most of all, it will be extraordinary. Extraordinary.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk.
Welcome back to Make We Talk here on Roots 96.1 FM and also on the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We're speaking to Ambassador Andy Mashaile of Interpol, a man who is a Jamaican by heart. And we're speaking about, is there secret police stations operating by the Chinese government within the Caribbean and especially in Jamaica? Ambassador, as a host country, if you find out that there are secret police stations operated by the Chinese government, what would you recommend that the host country should do?
The host country should do what the Americans have done. Close that fish and chips operation. If there is one in Jamaica, close that fish and chips operation. The Jamaican Constabulary Force must go there, close that fish and chips operation. Let me tell you why. You can't have parallel intelligence gathering by the JCF and by the PSB proxies. They call them the proxies of the Public Security Bureau, the PSBs. So those PSBs, public security bureaus in Jamaica, cannot be gathering intelligence. That's a space of sacred space of the Jamaican people, sacred space of the Jamaican intelligence.
Yes, Ambassador. Continue talking, Ambassador.
And we cannot at any point in time allow anyone to be gathering information on what is happening in Jamaica for the welfare of country that is not supposed to be doing what that is happening, what they are doing. I can imagine, Jeffrey, if the Jamaican Constabulary Force would want to set up their own secret police station in China and say they want to help the Jamaicans who are living in China with regard to interpretation and many others, the Chinese would not agree to that.
Sorry about it. Yes, Ambassador.
Yeah, so one of the two things, get JCF to close that thing down. And the good reason would be, as an international security expert myself, the security of the country is compromised. Even my home country, the 13 PSB proxies that exist here are a threat to national security. And also in other African countries, in all of the 50 countries, that's a threat to national security. That's a serious threat. If that information is going back to China, what are they doing with the information? You don't want leaks that would say Jamaica is weak in this area, they are strong in that area. We don't want that information going back to China and being used by Chinese people to undermine what is going on in Jamaica or the economy or many of those things, or security and that kind of stuff. We don't want them knowing that there are people like myself who are freedom warriors, who have fought for freedom, who have fought against white domination and many of those things. You don't want also other people knowing who have been helping us in the war for freedom. They call it the struggle for freedom. It was a war for freedom, and it continues to be a war for freedom. for those people who were taken out of the 32 million people that were taken out of Africa, 16 million thrown overboard, and some of them banished to Jamaica. The war still continues because we have the right to be who we are. End of story.
You know something, Ambassador? People who are listening to us on Roots FM and also watching on Roots FM YouTube channel and the Make Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel and other portals around the world and the Eastern Caribbean. This is a shocking report from the American government and also the FBI that end up closing down that secret police station in Manhattan. Is it that we now, as Caribbean people, must be more vigilant within our communities to see if the Chinese is really operating in Jamaica with a secret police station?
Jeffrey, the answer to that is yes. We have to be vigilant. I'm not xenophobic. I'm just realistic. I'm a realist. I'm not even a racist. I'm a realist. When other races and other nationalities come into my space, they have to respect that space. And am I saying that they have gone into the Jamaican space? I don't have facts at this point in time. I based on my research and based on the report that I went through within a short space of time when you were talking to me, I did get a report some time back, but I could not read it because my interest was, why is it that the police in my country would work hand in glove with other police who are setting up parallel police station? Let me tell you what happens, Jeffrey. When Chinese are attacked in Cyrildene, that is in Eastern Johannesburg, they go to that police station. Do I want them to go to that police station? No. Where do I want them to go? To the legal police station, which is a South African Police Services police station, established in terms of SAPS Act 68 of 1995. So when the Constitution says there must be one police force in the country, we must not allow other police forces in the world. It doesn't matter to the Chinese people who are listening in on this conversation. It doesn't matter how we address these proxies of the public security bureaus in China. It doesn't matter how we dress them up in other countries. It must not happen. End of story.
Yes, indeed. Ambassador, based on, let me make something clear to my viewers and listeners. We're not aware of the Chinese operating a secret police stations in Jamaica. It is a possibility it is out there and we do not know. But based on what we are seeing around the world with the Communist Chinese government taking over based on financial loans to Caribbean countries and African countries, is it that the Chinese are buying their way into, especially the Caribbean, because the Jamaican government gave over something, how much acres of land, beachfront land, to the Chinese, where Jamaicans can't go on the beach anymore. And we sit down in this country of ours and allow this administration and private administration to continue selling out the country bit by bit, block by block, mainly to the Chinese. Is it that now, Ambassador, that we in our country, based on what is going on with America, finding out that Chinese are operating secret police stations in their country? Is it that now we in this country must say to ourselves, is it that China is going to take over Jamaica soon?
Jeffrey, that's why I said earlier on, I said I don't want to talk as an Interpol ambassador for the 10 back crime campaign.
Right.
I wanted to talk as an international security advisor and an expert in that area.
Yes.
In my analysis as an expert in international security, I have already highlighted that this is a risk to national security. And if it's in 50 countries, it means there is an international risk threat to those 50 countries. Some of them may not know what is going on, Jeffrey. Some of them may not know how these centers operate. Some of them might be excited to say they will help the Chinese nationals in matters of crime and all other matters, like they claimed to say they are helping the Chinese expatriates renew their licenses whilst they live in China or whilst they live in America. I mean, why can't I do it myself if I am a Chinese national? Why can't I renew it? What stops me from doing it myself? Why would such a center be doing that for me? What interest? Remember, you fill up the forms, you fill the data, you fill your street address, you fill your home number, you give them your cell phone number. And at the end of the day, that center has your PII, personal identifiable information. What are they going to do with that personal identifiable information after renewing your license? So these are some of the things that when we look at it as analysts, we see China spreading its wings. We see the dragon establishing its footprints in many countries of the world. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? If the intention is good, then it's a good thing. But if the intention is a hostile takeover, then it means we have to begin to look at it from a counter point of view. How do we counter that? Can we tell the Chinese that we want to set up some branch of Jamaican constabulary force in China? Maybe we should do that and check what is it that they will say, and check if they are not going to be spying in on those centers that will set up there. And in fact, what will it benefit us to set up those centers in China?
You know, I see somebody saying to me that they were videoing something in Jamaica that belongs to the Chinese government or the Chinese whatever. And the Jamaican police stopped them from videoing it. But yet, Chinese nationals can go around Jamaica and video anything.
Yeah, you remember when they came to the world, they used to have some cameras. They were taking buildings, pictures of buildings. You remember early in the early 70s, late 70s, late 80s, early 90s, and late 90s. They were going all over the world taking pictures as tourists. So you ask yourself, what would be the purpose? Maybe what the people would do or must do would be to engage our government in Jamaica and say, what is going on? Is there a center of this nature? I'm sure the Minister of Police would know, and I'm sure the Minister of Communications would know, and I am sure the office of the PM, the Prime Minister or the President, would be able to explain if they exist or not. Sometimes our countries don't know, like I told you. What Safeguard Defenders did is they spoke to some of the dissidents who were on the wanted list of China, and they got information about these public security bureaus. So they went to China. They started tracking them to China, from China to many of those countries, the 50 countries. That's how they came to pick up on the 50 countries hosting, some of them unknown, secret police stations.
Wow. Ambassador, I have another question for you that I need to ask you, not about the Chinese secret police, but would you say that Caribbean countries, especially Jamaica, is putting their national security at risk by having so much Chinese loan?
Sometimes we don't calculate the outcomes of a certain behavior. Sometimes because we are benefiting from the individual who's exercising or who's exhibiting that behavior. Sometimes we do it to develop our country, and we don't look at the fine prints on the contracts that we sign. And sometimes those agreements that we undertake come back to bite us or to haunt us in the form of these secret organizations.
Yes, Ambassador. You know, our people sit down in our country, and the Jamaican government, in the interest of building roads, major highways, they give away lands to the Chinese for the roads. And our people sit down because what happened? We do not know what is on that contract that they're signed with Beijing.
Yeah.
So when they come down to Jamaica, these Chinese nationals treat our people as if we came there by aeroplane, not by labor pain. And the time has come, hold on, Ambassador, the time has come, sir, for we in our country to let the Chinese, not only the Chinese, but you have the Syrians and the Indians, but especially the Chinese, who believe that because the government of Jamaica give them the beachfront land, they have the authority over Jamaicans. Ambassador, what do you think is going to happen? Put on your citizen hat. Take off your Interpol hat and put on a citizen hat. What do you think is going to happen if that continue with the black race within South Africa, within Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean?
The people are going to revolt. The people are going to, you see, I love Malcolm X. You don't have to beg for your dignity, you have to take it. And if someone forcibly takes your dignity, you have a duty to ensure that your dignity is restored. And you don't have to kiss them on their cheeks. I'm not advocating or inciting people to do what Malcolm X is saying on his behalf. No, I'm just saying it's going to come to a stage where people are sick and tired, and where the people would rise and do what we don't want to see happening. I'm not sure if this is part of the New World Order nonsense or if this is genuine, but for the fact that people in their own country cannot go to their beaches, it reminds me of the white people who denied us the right to go to the beaches in KZN in Cape Town. There used to be benches that were written "ni blancos," non-whites. People like myself were referred to as non-whites. And by the way, I never saw myself as a black person. I'm an African, and you are a descendant of Africans, Jeffrey.
Here.
Whether whoever wants to say what they want to say, and they are descendants of Europeans. End of story. There's no acceptance. The language that we use, accepting that we are black, makes people, other races, look at us as being defined by other individuals. So when you go to Jamaica and you tell Jamaicans cannot go and swim where they want to swim, Jamaicans are like us South Africans. They are the rebel rousers. Yeah.
You know, a lot of people fail to understand, you know, that we're a descendant from even Ghana. And when they continue, you know, Ambassador, we're living in a very serious time in our country in Jamaica. A very serious time. And you touched the topic of when you're going to the beach, that, you know, when Jamaicans are stressed out, of the hardship that put on by a government. The only place they can go and relax and talk to their God and have a smooth mind, have a mind that, you know, the breeze blow on them and they soothe their mind, not smooth, they soothe their mind. It's on the beach. And if they are going to continue giving away the beaches in the name of building roads or selling the beaches in the name of hotels, and majority of Jamaicans are underpaid in these modern day slavery hotels, don't you think that one of these days the whole apartheid system going to come back within black people, where they're going to say enough is enough and start rebel more?
Jeffrey, the signs and symptoms are there. That's why it must be stopped before it happens, and it must be stopped within the confines of the law. And whoever is listening here, we talk about national security interest, which is informed by things that happen within the confines of the law, organizations that get established, organizations that collect intelligence or data, doing it within the confines of the law. And most importantly, those organizations respecting the space of the Jamaican constabulary force by not establishing secret police stations. So if they have not been established in Jamaica yet, thank you, good Lord, but we must make sure that they don't get established. Where there is a huge Chinese diaspora community, we must walk up to them and say, there's only one police station here. There's only one police force here. End of story. Yeah.
Ambassador, your final word to your people in Jamaica, because you're a Jamaican, not by birth, but you're a Jamaican. Your final word, because even right now, CARICOM heads of government are meeting in Trinidad and Tobago, re-security. Have they at any time, have CARICOM or any organization within the Caribbean and even Jamaica, have they ever gotten in contact with you pertaining to security, Ambassador?
No, I'm not sure if you have Interpol operatives in your area. But I wouldn't mind talking to CARICOM like we've been talking, to give advice, to give analysis, and to also look into, remember that CARICOM countries or Caribbean countries have their own police forces, and they do their own strategic analysis, and they do their own threat analysis, and they put their own counter threat measures or counterintelligence measures. So all what we want to do would be to engage in a debate that enriches the debates that they have already started. Where they have not seen danger, maybe our discussions would then lead to dangers being highlighted, so that we are not caught flat-footed. We, meaning the people of the Caribbeans. I'm now talking as one of the people of the Caribbean sitting in that part of the world where we raise discussions. Remember, as a strategist myself, Jeff, we always look at systems and look at the weaknesses in the systems and ensure that we analyze those systems so that hotspots must be stabilized and they must be normalized. In this instance, you stabilize threat to national security and you normalize it by engaging with the people, by removing the threat permanently, like Americans have done with the Chinese secret police station, closing them down, arresting and charging those individuals and sending them back to China is one of those good things that would happen from a mitigation of risk, of national risk.
But if like how in a couple of minutes that we have leave, like how Jamaica is so indebted to China, if the authorities in Jamaica should find a secret police down there and they decide to close it down and deport with the deport, wouldn't there be a backlash based on our debt to China?
There will be. You must find their weaknesses. You don't just walk up to that place and close it down. You must find them doing something wrong and say to the Chinese government, these people are doing A, B, C, D, F, G, which is wrong. They are tracking people, they are gathering intelligence. This is against the law. We don't want to arrest them and lock them up in our jails. We want to send them back to China. End of story.
But some may argue, Ambassador, that if a Jamaican national does something in China, they spend how many years in China? Chinese prison. So why can't we lock up the Chinese nationals in our prison if we're found to find them doing?
If you don't want the backlash, if you are afraid of the backlash, you do that. But if you are not afraid of the backlash, you lock them up because they violated the sovereignty of the Jamaican constitution, and also violated the National Intelligence Act if it exists on that part of the world. They have done things. They have, from an espionage point of view, you raise those issues and then you lock people up in the event that they have done anything that violates the space that I've spoken about. I'm sure the Jamaicans kept them under, the Americans kept them under surveillance and caught them. So you have, even if when you go to court, you have evidence that these people are doing A, B, C, D, F, G.
Ambassador, I don't know if, can you stay over with me for a couple more minutes?
I'll give you 5 more minutes, Jeff. I'm in a car. I'm boiling. And,
oh, Lord.
Yeah, and I'm running my engine so that I can have the line using the USB.
Okay, you know what? I won't let you run the engine anymore because I know you're having power outages in South Africa. Your final word. Just give us your final 2 minutes. Tell us in our country, in Jamaica and around the world who are listening and watching from, you know, from the Make We Talk Jeff Tavares YouTube channel, from Jam Talk Vibes Radio, from Roots FM and other portals that people may be listening. Tell us in your own words, you know, what we as people should do. Should we be more vigilant in our communities pertaining to these Chinese nationals?
The first thing that we must do, we must ask ourselves if we want those PSBs, proxies, if those proxies of the public security bureaus existing in our countries. That's the first thing. And if the answer is no, that we don't want them, we kindly and respectfully say to the Chinese authorities and our authorities, we don't want these centers, secret police stations operating. That's number 2. Number 3, we want those who have been manning illegally and unlawfully, so operating these centers, to be arrested, and they should give our country or our authorities the record of the information that they have transmitted back to China. Number 4, we must ensure that any country that invests in our countries, or country A, if it invests in our country, which is B, they must comply with the law. They must do things within the confines of the law. If they don't, we just have to send them back or arrest them and lock them up.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Andy Mashaile of Interpol. Thank you so much for coming on. Our brother from South Africa.
Interpol turn back crime, yes. Thank you.
Yes, Ambassador of the Turn Back Crime in South Africa.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on, sir. God bless.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We were speaking to Ambassador Andy Mashaile of Interpol, a son of the soil in South Africa, a man who doesn't mince word when it comes on to the national security of any country. You know, I must say thanks to all my friends who was watching and listening. Remember, come Wednesday night at 8 p.m. That's 8 p.m. Jamaica time, 9 p.m. America time. I will be having former National Security Minister Robert Bobby Montague will be my special guest this Wednesday night. Join me then. Until you hear from me again, I return you to the studios of Roots 96.1 FM. I'm Jeffrey Tavares saying God bless you. And may God bless Jamaica land we love. All the best. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Over to Owen Brown in studio.
Make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z.